Okay, good afternoon. Hope you're having a good day. Today is what? Thursday? Yes, Thursday. And let's make some bottles. So bottles are pretty simple in Blender, and great if you're doing some products. Now, I found this one. It gives you like a side profile of some bottles. So you get like a beer bottle, wine bottle, champagne bottle. So I'll show you two different ways you can do it. I'm sure there's multiple ways you can do it. Create bottles and all kinds of shapes and sizes. You can write bottles. They come in all forms and sizes, shapes. But I guess it's the same principle to model them. So let's get started. Let's go in here. Now, if you do have a reference, say you want to use a reference in your Blender environment, what you want to do is go to import image as plane and then locate your image, which would be this one I've got here from I just googled wine bottles and then it appeared. Oops, scaled it the wrong way. I'm going to delete the default cube and that and that. Boom. Now you could choose to bring this into your scene, place it where you need it to be, and then kind of use this as your reference for modeling your bottles. So let's start with the beer bottle. Really simple beer bottle. We'll make a simple one, and what we're going to use is a curve for this one. So we're going to go curve, Bezier curve, and then I'm going to hit tab, go into edit mode, delete these vertices, and let's go into it, look at it front. And what we want to do is we can use either the draw tool or this pen tool. So if we take this pen tool, for example, and we start drawing the profile of this bottle, like so. All I'm doing is just holding, when I click, I hold and drag to get the round curves like this. So. And of course we can tweak these, don't worry if it's not perfect. And what we're going to do is just do halfway. And like I said, if you want to tweak these, you can zoom into these points and you can like align these. So if I select the scale and hit 0 on the numpad, you see they all align. And I can do it again, 0, there we go. And here, I want these to align because it's very, very wiggly or wonky. I'm sure you can hold shift as well when you click to lock them into a straight line, but there you go. And then here I want to adjust this curve, move this in, there we go. And then all we're gonna do, just actually you get the idea though, how you can tweak this. There we go. All we want to do really is, let's shift this, is add a modifier to this. Let's click on this one, these handles. I'm going to just, it's a bit sharp there, sorry. Being very picky, but yeah. I guess if you want it to look like a bottle, like how you intend it, then let's do this like that. There we go. So what we want to do is use a screw modifier to create this mesh. So we're going to say generate a screw, and we have a beer bottle. Now just make sure at the bottom there's no hole in there, and then if we scroll up, we can move over. We've got a hole at the top and a solid at the bottom. We have a beer bottle. Now you can go in and you can refine this, and you can work on this. If you want to add more, say you wanted to add more points between this and here and add more detail, if I right click and say subdivide, now I've added additional point in the middle, and you can add more detail in there or tighten up some of these curves. Entirely up to you. So you can work on that, but that's one way of doing it. So now we've made one bottle. I'll push this to the side. Let's move. Shift it over. We can call this, we can rename this beer bottle if you want, or Bezier curve. I'll call it beer bottle. So that's one way. The other way you can do it, I'll just do two. I won't bother with the champagne. They're pretty much the same anyway. You can do either way. We're gonna just use a cylinder as our mesh. So we're gonna model using a cylinder. So we'll start with a cylinder, like so. If we look at it from the side, and we can turn on X-ray mode as well. Okay. So we'll scale this up. There we go. So you can see here it tapers down on the base and it tapers up at the base. So what we want to do is go into edit mode. Let's start with faces. Select this top face. And we're going to drag this up to a point where it's going to taper in. Then I'm going to press E to extrude and drag this in and taper it to the size of the neck. So we'll take a look at it from front. Scale it in. Something like this. Then I'll extrude again. And I can bring this up. What I'll actually do is I'll match this line here. So if we want to create a label for the neck, then we would have that mesh already kind of sorted. But actually we can use a loop cut later anyway. We can do this, no problem. But yeah, you can prepare ahead of time. Sorry, I'm stuttering. Anyway, E, then S, which will then extrude, then scale up, and then we're gonna press E again and extrude up. There we go. Now we've got the cap. Then what I want to do, if you look at it from the top, I'm gonna press extrude S and scale in just a tiny bit. There we go. And then I'm going to press E again and extrude up. And you can see we have the bottle. Now the bottom, we're just going to do the same. So it'd be E and drag down and just scale it in. Now if you want to make the inside a bit more interesting, like the base of it a bit more interesting, you can do it insert face, and then you could just slightly push this up as well. There we go. So we basically modeled the general shape of the bottle. However, you see it's not very smooth. Now what I'm going to do on the object mode, I just shaded smooth, and then I'm going to press Ctrl A, apply the scale, go back into edit mode, and I'm going to apply bevels to this. So if I select this edge loop here, like so, and then I'll right click, bevel edge, and expand this bevel. I can of course move this up as well. Oh, undo. Before I do that, perhaps we move this up and scale it down. There we go. And what we're going to do is bevel edge. There we go. And we want to increase the segments. There we go. And then we can of course adjust this to what we need it and move it up and down. There we go. So now we added more subdivisions on that part of the bottleneck. And then it's about just doing the same for the bottom and the top. So here, where we don't have enough resolution and it's very hard edged, you want to kind of soften this. Do bevel edge, and I'll bring the segments down because we don't need that many, maybe 3 on there. And then on this base underneath, if I can select this edge loop, bevel edge, there we go. So it looks a lot smoother. Then again, we have the cap, so you can of course do the cap. You want to bevel these edges here. Also the neck, the top of the neck, right click, bevel edge. And you can add a tiny bevel on there too. So now we have 2 bottles made. So there's one way you can model it. And then the other way you can use a modifier with a curve. So, don't feel like you're locked into it. So let's just delete this reference. I'm just delete this. Let's just put some materials on here. Make it look a bit more interesting. So it's straightforward. I'm going to turn my render engine to cycles. Switch this to GPU. I'm going to just denoise this. Okay, right now we have no lights in the scene. no ground plane, so I'm just going to add a ground plane for them to sit on. And you can just use the scene world for now. So now we can see what we're doing. Okay, I changed it to the kind of studio lit one, so you can see, get nice shadows from it. Putting the material on there. So let's start with the beer bottle, new material, and then you can go beer. And we can change that surface to glass, the SDF. And then you can see the roughness, so we can bring the roughness down. And automatically, you know, you get this kind of gloss look. Make it easier if we put a backdrop. So let's change our plane. So let's just extend the backdrop. So I'm going to extrude these up, E, and drag this up. And then right click, bevel edge. Oops, I want to select these two as well. Right click, bevel edge. There we go. And I'll just increase those segments. And then I'll shade that smooth. There we go. That looks a lot better. You know, so now you can see it wasn't, because what it's going to pick up on the glass is the background as well, so it looked weird. But yeah. And of course you can change how much refraction the bottle has, or you know, so if you want it more or less, it's entirely up to you. Now if you want to add thickness to the glass, you can also add a solidify to this. So you can go modify, add a solidify to this, and add some thickness. So now that makes it a bit more interesting. You know, it's not just a simple piece of glass. There we go. And you can also tint this. So if you want to change the color, say tint it to a green or a brown or whatever color you want. So if we go for a kind of brownish color, there we go, and we can bring that value down. We have a bottle, a beer bottle. And then of course you can play around with that roughness. So that you know, experiment, try different values, see what works, what doesn't work. There we go. So the next one, let's jump onto this, the wine bottle. Okay, and I'm going to apply same material, the glass BSDF. Now you can choose whatever color you want. So you can go for a dark color, maybe a dark green, and then bring that roughness down. And we have a wine bottle. Now if you want to stick a label in there, there's different ways you can do this. So for example, we can extract pieces of the geometry to create the label. So one way is like if I said this neck here, I want to select the neck. So if I go into this side view here and select that, and shift D to duplicate that selection, then right click and say separate selection. So now we have two pieces. We've got the bottle and we've got this label. So if I go object, center origin to surface of mass, there you go. So we now have this label that we can apply a different material. So I'm going to remove that material, add a new material. This could be red, green, whatever color you want. So let's go for like a greenish color, like so. There we go. And maybe this is not green then, and this is, let's just take the saturation away, the value up. There we go. So you could have a kind of label on there if you wanted. You can put texture on it. If you want to put like a sticker on here, you could do the same thing. You could take this selection here, extract it, or you can either model maybe a cylinder on top. Really simple, just put a cylinder there and hit S to scale that in so it just sits above. Now if I come out of this shaded mode here, there we go, and just scale this in a tiny bit, there we go, and delete that top face and bottom face. Okay, so now we have a label. I'm going to show you that smooth. Okay, so we have a label. Now if you want to apply a material to this, you can. So I already have a label prepared. I just did it in Photoshop. And you can scale this up and down to the appropriate size. Anyway, new material. Sorry. Apologies. I'm going to go to shading. And what you can do is you can drag an image in, or you can browse. So you can go add, and we want a image texture. So that's one way, and then you can go open and browse for your image. The other way, what you can do, most people, I don't know if most people know, is you can drag and drop images in. So if I drag the image in, it automatically adds the node. Rather than me going here, open, browse, I can just drag the texture straight in from where I want it. As you can see, there's a few settings I want to change. So I want to change the repeat to clip, because we don't want it to repeat unless that's something you want. Color will go to base color, alpha will go to alpha, and you can see here, that's my face, my bald head. Okay, and what we're going to do is just go into our UV mapping. So we want to change the UV mapping on this. I'm going to go UV editing. Let's just change the shading mode here so we can see it. Don't worry about this being black. If you're using Eevee or something and it's showing you as black, or in this viewport the alpha's black, you can just click on the material and if you scroll down on that material, where is it? Not settings. Yeah, it's the material. We are looking for, yes, in the viewport display you want to change the blend mode to alpha clip, and then that will sort that out. If you're using Eevee, you know, I'll bring this slightly bigger, there we go, so it's just not sitting in, so we don't have any of that Z draw problem. But right now you can see what we do have is an issue with the UV mapping. So I can kind of scale this up and move this around. Now we're looking at the bottle from this side, so I'll need to shift this over and scale it until I'm happy with that, you know, that texture right there. It's very simple, nothing too complicated I'm doing. There we go. If we go back into layout, and maybe I'll just rotate this, because there we go. There's my bald head on a bottle, you know. So, you know, you can create whatever you want. Pretty easy. Bottles are not too hard. So you can use a Bezier curve, or you can model it from, say, a cylinder. And again, you can apply a solidifier to this as well. You can apply a modifier, generate, solidify, add some thickness to that glass. And then you'll see how much it just adds that extra detail that you need in the glass. You can even see here at the top on the lid, which is brilliant and really simple. There we go. Now if you wanted to, say, add some liquid in there quickly, just like you could probably duplicate the bottle and then add some in. So you could just say, okay, I'm going to select this bottom half here, I'm going to say Shift D and then right click, separate selection. Now we have inside here, so I could rename this with this is just one way. There's so many ways to do it, but this is just a quick and cheap way. And then what we're going to do, look at it from the top. Let me turn off this the ray tracing and just go into normal shading mode. I'm going to select this top edge here, select the top loop, so this loop, so alt click, we'll select the entire loop, and then I'll just press F to fill that. There we go. Now if you want to keep that solidified, you can. I'm going to remove that on this, and then also I'm going to remove that material, new material, and of course you could choose if you want it. Let's go in here, you know, you can give it a color, how rough you want this, or how refractive, or whatever you want. Easy one, you can just apply the glass and then kind of use that. There we go. And then change that roughness how you want. Now lighting, you just place lights. Now there are different ways of adding lights in here. You can, you can drop your spotlights, your gobo lights, whatever you want in here. You can also use mesh to light the bottle, so you can use an emissive material on a mesh. So if I, for example, use this plane here, and I was to push this to the side, and we want it to like have a nice highlight on this side here. If I add a new material to this and go emission and increase the strength, you can see I can pick up this nice highlight on the bottle, and you can see how it lights up the scene. So you can use emissive materials as well. There's so many different ways of doing it, but yeah, mainly I was just showing you different ways to model a bottle. Hopefully that was useful. It's not the best in the world, it's not the best bottle in the world, but it's a bottle, and I can match this color. There we go. It's more of a, there we go, greenish. Bring that value up. There we go. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Sorry if I was waffling on a lot, but yeah, I guess after the point where I modeled the two different versions, up to you from there where you take this, and what you do with it. So you can copy this, paste, rotate this, have a different one. Yeah, also, usual, you can do whatever you like. But yeah, we have bottles. I hope you have a fantastic day, morning, evening and night. Thank you again. If you can, hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment as well if it was helpful or not. It's good to know. I'm trying to fix this mic all the time. I don't know, I might need to swap to a different mic, but thank you again. Bye bye.